the whole truth. The place where you listen to get a fair view. The place where you listen to get the whole truth. The place where you listen. Good evening, Melanie. Good evening. How you doing? This is Greg Talk. This is Greg Talk. Good evening, Tanya Taylor. Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's that time again, y'all. It's Thursday evening. It's time for Greg Talk. Greg Talk. Greg Talk. Yeah, let me drop that intro. Let me drop that intro on you one more time. Let me drop that intro on you one more time. Yes. Yes, we welcome you in. We welcome you in. Go ahead and start inviting your neighbors, invite your friends. Invite your neighbors and your friends. Come on. Let's get ready for Greg Talks. Greg Talks. Hey, Regina, how you doing? Let's go ahead and share. Tag and share. Thank you, Melanie, for sharing. I'm sharing right now as we speak. Let's share it. Listen, I need you. Wow. Thank you. Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Yes, go ahead and tag them in. You really want to tag them in tonight. This is going to be an interesting topic. Yes, go ahead and tag them in. Good evening, Pastor Rosen. Yes. Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Greg Talks. Listen, I need everybody to call somebody, to tag somebody, to share with somebody, to let them know that Greg Talk is live. Yes, right here live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and live on Periscope. Go ahead and invite your neighbors and your friends in. Let them know that Greg Talk is here. And listen, the reason that you need to go ahead and invite somebody in, go ahead and tag somebody. Thank you, Tanya. Go ahead and tag somebody. If you know somebody that's dealing with some anger management issues, they need to be on this show tonight. You need to invite them in tonight. If you know anybody that is dealing with anger management issues, then you need to invite them in tonight. They need to be on this show because I'm going to drop some information on you. I'm going to drop some tips on you on how to deal with that anger and what to do with that anger. Good evening, Pastor Pernell Mitchell. God bless you, my brother. So good to have you joining us this evening. Amen. So if you guys in any way, form, or fashion can share this video, can tag your friends and tag your neighbors, go ahead and tag them now because they you need them to be a part of this right now. Amen. You need them to be a part of dealing with the anger management issues, because one of the things I want you to understand this, because people often use the terminology, I have anger problems. Thank you, Regina, for sharing that. Some people often say that I have anger problems. I want to, as first of all, let you know that anger is not a problem. No. Anger is not a problem. It's the management of the anger that is the problem. It's not the anger that's the problem. It's the management of the anger that is the problem. Oh my. I say that. Listen, I say that because of the fact that everybody experiences anger, but everybody don't have anger management problems. Okay, everybody experiences anger, but everybody don't have anger management problems. So I want you to get that. I want you to get that. The anger itself is not of the anger is the problem, or should I say, the mismanagement of the anger is the problem. We got to know how to keep that anger under control. Now, it's not that you're not going to be angry, because everybody gets angry. The Bible tells us to be angry, but do not sin. Okay, so in other words, God already knew that there were going to be some issues with our anger, even as Christians. Yes. Yes. even as Christians, there's going to be some issues with our anger if we don't keep the anger under control. Even as Christians, yes, there's going to be some anger, some issues with our anger if we don't keep the anger under control. Amen. Okay, so now get this. Sometimes we wonder, and we ask the question rather, where did this anger come from? Why do we even get angry in the first place? Why do we get angry in the first place? The Bible teaches us this, first of all, that we were created in the image and the likeness of God. Yeah, we were created in the image and the likeness of God. And understand something. The very first one to get angry was God. Okay, the very first one to get angry was God. Well, let's look at the fact. And listen, guys. I know you're there. But go ahead and again, if you got questions, go ahead and ask questions. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that off the bat. Go ahead and ask questions. If you have questions, go ahead and ask those questions. Put them on the screen. We want to be able to deal with your questions tonight and help you. I want to help you help somebody else. Okay, I want to help you if you need the help, but I also want to help you help somebody else. Yes, I want to do that. So again, you want to go ahead and share this with somebody. You need to go ahead and share this with somebody. Listen, I want you to know what anger is, because sometimes we have that issue and we really don't understand what anger really is. Anger is an emotional response to a perceived manageable threat. Yeah, let me say it again. Anger is an emotional response to a perceived manageable threat. The key word in that definition right there is the word perceived. The key word is the word perceived. In other words, if it is something that seems to threaten us and we think we can manage that, then it will cause us to get angry. Now, anger also lets you know that there is something wrong. There's something wrong. In other words, you've been mistreated in some form of fashion. You've been discriminated against in some form of fashion. You've been abused or misused in some form of fashion. So anger signifies to us that something is wrong. Anger is like pain. Whenever you feel pain, then you know that something is wrong. Watch this. So therefore, whenever you feel anger, you ought to also know that something is wrong. Something is wrong. All right. Okay. Now, let me look at another definition of anger. Let me look at another definition of anger. Anger is anger is a normal, basic human emotion. Yes, anger is a normal, basic human emotion. In other words, anger is normal. It's the stuff that we do sometimes with the anger that seem to be abnormal, but the anger itself is normal. So if we were created in the image and the likeness of God, and God got angry, guess what? We too will get angry. But if we look at this from a biblical standpoint, I know that's many ways and many anger management techniques and tips that we can use. But I want to share a couple with you from the biblical perspective, from the God perspective, and how God managed His anger. Okay, so in Genesis chapter 3, we all understand that God got angry when Adam and Eve sinned. God got angry. Yes, He did. He got angry when Adam and Eve disobeyed Him. He was very, very angry. Yes, He was very angry. But God, listen, He did not let His anger control Him. He controlled His anger. Now, whenever our anger controlled us, we would do sometimes some foolish things. And John Spence says this in the 90 quotes that he used to 90 quotes to change the way you think. He says, never do something permanently foolish because you are temporarily upset. Yes, never do something permanently foolish because you are temporarily upset. Yeah, yeah. So anger can, if we allow the anger to control us, then we would do some things that can sometimes get us into places and the things that we don't want to get into, and take us places that we don't want to go. So make sure. Shakila, how you doing? My God, good to see you. Yes. So anger will take us places sometimes that we don't want to go, and cause us to do things that we would not ordinarily do if we don't manage the anger, but we somehow allow the anger to manage us. So here's what God does. God does something, and I believe that if we would take these points from God and take the page from God's book, it will help us a whole lot better when it comes to managing our anger. Now, I'm gonna get you again. If you know somebody who need to be on this show on here tonight, if you know somebody that need to be, go ahead and get in touch with them in some way, form, or fashion. Tag them in the video, or whatever the case may be. And you want to tag them, all you got to do is type their name in on the comment section. It will automatically tag them. So if you know somebody who needs to get this tonight, make sure that they get in on this tonight, because I want to help somebody. Because number one of the reasons that I believe that God led me to do this is because of the fact that domestic violence and violent situations have escalated since the pandemic has struck us from March to now. People have been confined together, and one of the things, man, if you really want somebody to really lose it, box them in. Oh my God, that's why so many people right now are running out and just throwing their hands up and saying, hey, forget it. If I'm going to get coronavirus, I'm just going to get it because I can't take this no more. So because when people get boxed in, they get frustrated, and whenever we're frustrated, we easily lose our temper. Whenever we're frustrated about anything, we'll easily lose our temper. So God, let me go back to this. God shows us. He gives us, I believe, what I call is the very first anger management class. Not only did God show us that he was the first one to get angry, but he also gives us, if we study that, the very first anger management class. He teaches. God is the master teacher, man. So what God did, he did not respond out of his anger, but he waited until he calmed down. Now, read it for yourself. It's in the book. Read it for yourself in Genesis chapter 3. The Bible says that the voice of God came walking through the garden in the cool of the day. The voice of God came walking through the garden in the cool of the day. That suggests to us that God waited until he calmed down before he showed up. Jesus. God waited until he calmed down before he showed up. Okay, that's tip number one. Calm down first before you respond. Yeah, that is tip number one. You can write that down if you want, but share that with somebody. Tip number one: calm down before you respond, because if you respond out of anger, there's probably no telling what you might do. If you respond at that point where you are, you may end up in a fit of rage and doing something, again, permanently foolish, because you are temporarily upset. Listen, you can get past how you feel at the moment, but what you do, you might not be able to get past it. Okay. All right. So God shows up in the cool of the day. The second tip that God gives us is this: he asks questions. Ask questions. Even though you may know what has transpired, you may know what the person has done, but the best way to cause anyone to incriminate themselves is to ask them questions. Woo! Yeah. The best way to cause someone to incriminate themselves is to ask questions. You see some of these television shows and whatnot and movies, and you see when they go into the courtroom, there are witnesses on the witness stand, and sometimes they call the defendant to the stand. And when that defendant hit the stand, they ask that defendant some questions, and sometimes they are some tough questions. And if there is any guilt, normally that defendant will get riled up and lose their cool on the witness stand. So here's what God did. God shows up. He already knows what Adam and Eve have done. He already know. Yes. And you, again, you might already know what has transpired. But rather than making accusations, ask questions. Can I tell you this? Nobody likes to be accused of anything. Mm. Even when we're guilty, we don't want nobody to accuse us. Right? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and smile and nod your head because you know you know it's the truth. Even when we know we're guilty, we still sometimes don't want to be accused of anything. Hey, my God! Listen, I'm telling you. Go ahead if you got questions. Go ahead and ask your questions. You are free to do that. We can dialogue. We can dialogue this, not monologue it, but we can dialogue this. I can talk to you. You can talk to me, and you can ask me any questions that you have in your heart concerning managing your anger. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. So God came. God shows up, and here's what God does. God says, Adam. Adam responds, and then God says, "Where are you?" Okay. Adam says, "I'm hiding." God says, "Why are you hiding?" Adam says, "Because I'm naked." God says, "Who told you you was naked?" Then God turns around and says, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" So God managing his anger by asking questions. I want you listen. You can manage your anger as well by asking questions, because when you start making accusations, then people respond in a hostile way. And if they respond in a hostile way and you already know what they have done, then there's going to be an escalation in that confrontation. Jesus. Yes, let me say it again. There's going to be an escalation in that confrontation. All right, how can a person come out of taking everything as a threat? I try so hard not to get into confrontation, but I find myself getting into them every time there's a little opposition, something to make us grow. But I don't know how to grow because I handle everything in the same manner. Where are you? The test is going to always be before you, because I fall every time. Oh, wow. Listen. That's good. That's good. And that's good. That is really a good question. Why do I keep responding the same way? If I'm going to, and I'm going to jump ahead because of the question. I mean, there's so much I can talk about here, but I want to deal with the question. I don't have to stick to a script, but if you got questions, I'm going to answer your questions. So go ahead and post them there. But listen, here's one of the ways that we do that. There's something that is called positive self-talk. Positive self-talk. Now, if anybody ever told you you don't need to talk to yourself, they lied. Okay. They lied to you. You need to talk to you, because watch this. You realize when you come to really think about it, you talk to yourself anyway, because a lot of times when we find ourselves in trouble or doing something wrong, guess who talked us into it? We talked ourselves into it. Why? Because we told ourselves how to do it, and we told ourselves how we can do it and get away with it. Okay. So we talk, just like we talk ourselves into trouble, we can also talk ourselves out of trouble. So we got to have positive self-talk. What do you mean? I'm glad you asked. What I mean is, sometimes we know that there are some people that automatically rubs us the wrong way. Woo! Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Sometimes we know that there are some people that are automatically going to rub us the wrong way. Can I tell you this? Some people love to see you act crazy. Wow. They will see you coming and already make up their mind that they are going to get on your nerve. They're going to get under your skin. They're going to do something to make you lose it. They're going to do something automatically just to see you act a fool. And then they go back and tell their friends, because they already told them, watch me make them act a fool. And then they go back and tell them, see, I told you so. Don't let them get you like that. Have some positive self-talk. When you see that person or those people or that group of people, if you see them coming your direction, you got to start talking to yourself right then. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You got to start talking to yourself right then and start telling yourself, I'm not going there today. I'm not going to let them push my buttons. I'm not going to get them get under my skin. Listen. Wow, thank you, God. Ooh, I like to illustrate. I love to illustrate when I'm talking about stuff. Like I love I love to give illustrations. Listen, you see this right here. This is called a remote control. Yes, it's a remote control. And, you know, in order for these things to work, you got to push the buttons. And you ever said to yourself, when after losing your cool sometime, they just pushed my buttons. They just pushed every button. They just be pressing buttons to set you off. They pressing your buttons. And you are responding to what they are doing. So in order to respond, not to respond to in that way, what you need to do is make sure you have positive self-talk and say, you know what? I'm not going to let them press my buttons today. I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of making me act the fool. Now watch this. How you do it? We have kids. Many of us, if we don't have kids, we've been around kids. We babysit kids, and kids are gonna be kids. And when and you can be sitting down watching your favorite television show sometime, and the kid walk up and grab the remote, and bam, just at the good part, they done changed your show. All right. And this is what happens sometimes. Sometimes at the greatest part of your day, woo! Somebody walks up to you and press your button, and bam, you change channels. Everything right now is different. You have gone to another level. Jesus, yes, you have gone to another level now because some devil done push your button. But if you have some positive self-talk when you see them coming, that is equivalent to taking your remote control away from the kids, taking it back off of it, and removing the batteries. When you remove the batteries, the kid don't know that there's no batteries. That the batteries are gone from that remote. And they press and they press and they press and nothing happens. Nothing happens. They're pressing the button, but the TV channel ain't changing. Nothing is happening. So you know what they do then? They take their remote and lay it down and go find something else to get into. That's what people would do with you when they find out that they can't press your buttons. And then when you realize that, and we will not always respond the same way, and we will not always handle every situation the same, and therefore we will not always fail. Will we fall sometime? Absolutely, but it won't be all the time. My. Yes, because when we remove those batteries, they can't press our buttons anymore. All right. I thank you, Regina said, let God be your remote. Let God control your remote, brother. Yeah, let God be in control. And so therefore we have to do that. And thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. God bless you, Shakila. I'm glad you on tonight because hey, God is so wise in his providence that he knows who needs to hear what, and he will put us in the right place at the right time. You know, we can't plan this stuff ourselves. It's all orchestrated by God, and we definitely appreciate that. And thank you for being here tonight. You know, whenever we respond to God, then we always find ourselves in the place where we need to be. All right. So let me go back to God's lessons. Anybody else got another question? Go ahead and post your question. And if somebody posts a question on your timeline or on your watch party, whatever the case is, again, y'all know I still can't do watch parties. Facebook don't like me like that no more, but I don't know what the deal is, but it's all good. All right. Okay. So now watch this. You know what I do? Okay, let me do this then. How about that? Okay, so what happens now, God asks questions. And because God was asking those questions, Adam incriminated himself. God didn't have to incriminate him. He incriminated himself because then when God says, what have you done? Adam says, well, okay, God, this woman you gave me, she gave me of the fruit of the tree and I did eat. And then when he asked Eve, no, God never accused anybody. He said, he asked Eve, well, what have you done? And Eve says, this serpent tricked me. Then he asked the serpent, what have you done? Well, he didn't have nobody else to blame. He didn't have nobody to point the finger at. So, you know, so the fact is God teaches us this by asking questions can cause us not to get into a serious confrontation with somebody and nobody loses their cool. Had an experience a couple of years ago with one of my daughters who sent me a message one day and said that something that someone had said to her and blah blah blah, and she's about to respond to that message, and she read me her response, and she said, "Should I send it?" Oh, she was mad. She was mad, man. As the old folk would say, she was 38 hot. She was really really upset. And so what did I do? I said no, do not send it. So what do I need to do? I said, well, erase all of that. You know, wasn't necessarily what she wanted to hear, but it was important that she did. Now and then I said, she said, well, what should I say? I said to her, I said, ask questions. And she began to ask all the questions that I told her to ask, and it squashed the whole situation simply because she asked questions. And listen, I want you to understand something. We got to sometimes ask questions, and that way we won't find ourselves in some precarious predicaments, or we won't find ourselves with the law being called because we've done some things that we didn't need to be doing. Hey, yeah. We won't find ourselves doing things that we had to turn around and say, oh my God, what was I thinking? Hey, have you ever been in that position? Have you ever done something? Have you ever acted and responded out of your anger and you find yourself saying, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? So, okay. Now, the next thing the next thing I want to tell you this is never make major decisions, or really shouldn't make any decision. Never make decisions while you're angry, because you more than likely you're going to end up regretting that decision that you made. Never make decisions based on your anger. It can get you in a lot of trouble. Never make decisions based on your anger. It will get you in a lot of trouble. Okay, so let your head cool down before you make those decisions. Okay, let your head cool down before you make those decisions, because you start making those decisions based on your anger, then you find yourself in a world of trouble. Now let's move a little bit forward, because God gave us another anger management lesson, whereas the person that he was dealing with failed. Okay, remember Cain and Abel, when they came to present their offering before God, Abel's offering was accepted, Cain's offering was rejected, and Cain was angry. And God asked Cain, he said, why are you angry? And let me put this in my word. Let me paraphrase this. God says, in other words, to Cain, he said, if you do not change that attitude, you're going to sin when you leave out of this door. Let's go. The Bible says, he said that sin is crouching, sin is waiting for you at the door. In other words, if you don't change your attitude, if you don't get yourself under control, then sin is waiting for you at the door. And when you go out of the door, you're going to do something that you should not be doing. Yes. All right. So Cain rejected the teaching, or rejected the class. Cain failed anger management. And now watch this. When you don't control your anger will control you, and it will cause you to manipulate people. Yes. It will cause you to manipulate people. And in that manipulating, Cain goes out and manipulates his brother to meet him in the field. And as his brother meets him in the field, he rises up against him and he kills him. He kills Abel. He kills his brother who did nothing to him. So watch this. Let me put it this way. If you don't manage your anger, it will cause you to hurt somebody that has done nothing to you. My God. All right. Okay. So that was God's lesson. That was God's lesson to us on managing our anger. We need to know how to do that, and doing that from a biblical standpoint, I guarantee you, it keeps us under control. You know, the Bible also tells us that a kind word turns away anger. And for a long time, I understood that to mean that when people come at you in anger and a rage, and you speak kindly to them, that it will change their disposition. But I later came to the understanding that it's not just about them, it's about you, it's about me. So in other words, if I'm angry, and if I start speaking kind words, it not only will it turn away the anger in the other person, but it will also turn away the anger in me. It will change the way I feel. Do you not know the words that you speak can change the way that you feel? Now, if I was to walk into your room and you can be feeling really good, you be upbeat and all jolly and happy, and I will give you a pillow and I tell you to hit this pillow and hit this pillow. And every time you hit this pillow, you say, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. It won't be long before the way you felt begin to change. Okay? So get that. I want you to get that. It won't be long before the way you was feeling start to change. It will change quickly because now you are saying something that is entering into your spirit that is changing the way that you feel. All right. Now, so the next tip I want to leave you, and I'm going to be through here in just a moment. The next tip I want to leave with you is this. Think before you speak. Think before you speak. Think before you speak. Think before you speak. How many of y'all know somebody? I mean, it don't have to be you. You just know somebody. You know somebody who is quick to say, you know me, whatever come up, come out. Whatever come up, come out. Is that something to be proud of? Oh, I think not. You see, I need to think before I speak because the words that I say will continually ring in your ears. Yes, it will. The words that I speak will continually ring in your ears. You will constantly hear what I said. And even though I will apologize for what I said, it's still those words will constantly ring. Now, depending on who you are and how you feel and how you respond, you might respond immediately to what I said. Think before you speak. And that's what that positive self-talk, that positive self-talk will do. It will help you think and choose your words wisely. Choose words that are healing, not words that are hurting. Yeah. Choose words that are healing, not words that are hurting. Choose words that's going to de-escalate the situation rather than choosing words that's going to escalate the situation. Now, watch this. Seek wise counsel. Don't go asking if somebody, they have upset you and maybe they're not even in your presence and you're ready to go after them. Don't do that. Seek wise counsel. Now, what do you mean by that? By seek wise counsel? Don't go asking people who you know going to pour gasoline on your fire. You're already burning hot. You're already upset. You're already on fire, and don't go seek somebody who's going to push you up to do something that you don't need to be doing. In other words, don't go get counsel from people who are going to tell you, "I wouldn't take that if I was you," but rather find somebody who's going to talk you down off your ledge. Yes. So seek wise counsel. Think before you speak and seek wise counsel. All right. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is this. Next thing I want to tell you because there are some physical ways that we can release our tension. Yes, there's some physical ways we can release our tension. Number one, go take a walk, take a break. Just walk, get some air. Just go for a brisk walk. Do some jumping jacks, get some exercise. But this helps us to release the stress and slows down our brain. Yes, of the things that we're thinking, and it takes our mind off of the situation that was at hand. So yes, take a break. It gives you time to clear your thoughts and to think better. Now I hear you because I hear this all the time. People use the phrase. They say this: the more I think about it, the madder I get. Let me tell you why you get mad the more you think about it. And this is going to help somebody. Let me tell you why you get mad the more you think about it. Because the more you think about it and you get madder because of the fact that your thoughts at that point are selfish. Your thoughts at that point are selfish. You're only thinking about how you feel, and you're not thinking about solving a problem. All of my thoughts should be problem solving. In other words, while I'm thinking, I ought to be thinking, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to mend this relationship? How are we going to do that? That's our thought process need to be. Not thinking, I'm not gonna. I don't. Who do they think they are, or who do they think I am? Do they think they can treat me that way? Me. Our thoughts becomes selfish. I'm tired of this. You know, no. That's not the way to do it. Think about how can we come together and talk this out and work this out and make things better. That's the thought process that we have to have. So we got to think before we speak. And I guarantee you that will help us along the way in managing our anger. So remember those things. Remember those things. Remember those things. I hope you wrote them down. Remember those things. These are things that will help us in managing our anger. We need to seek wise counsel. Think before we speak. Yes. Ask questions. So take that page from God's books and get what hear instruction. And sometimes people try to tell us, but we still go and do it the way we want to do it rather than doing it with in a way of wisdom. So any questions? I won't keep you much no longer, but I need to know if you got any more questions. I'll be glad to answer your questions. Amen. Any questions? So I will give you a moment or two to post questions. If you don't have no questions, then hey, you must get it. But make sure you tag and share with somebody else who might need some help in managing their anger. Yes, make sure you tag and share with somebody who might need some help in managing their anger. Okay. All right. No questions. I'm looking everywhere. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Melanie. Physical ways to help yourself. Take a walk. Yes. Take a walk. Take a break. Go for a swim. Do something, but don't do the same thing. And don't keep doing the same thing and get into the same trouble. And there's no need of doing the same thing. We always going to get the same results. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. God bless you. And we appreciate you so much. For joining us tonight. If you don't have any questions, then we will get ready to get out of here. Okay. All right. God bless you. We love you. This has been another edition of Greg Talks. Again, don't forget to share it. I was about to go there. A question popped up. What if you try to walk away from someone and they follow you and try to continue the argument? Oh goodness! I promise you, I've heard that question so many times because and there are people who would do that. Something my mother taught me a long time ago is that I don't have to respond to everything somebody say. And she said it's take two people to argue. No one can argue by themselves. So sometimes if they follow you or whatever the case is, oh, you really taking me down a whole nother road right now. But if they follow you and you stop walking or whatever the case may be, and don't say anything, after a while, people get tired of talking and nobody talking back to them. So what happens many times to escalate an argument or fight or whatever you want to call it, it escalates because two people are going back and forth. Everybody wants to be heard and nobody wants to listen. With the kids growing up, I used to watch the Rugrats a lot, and there was always Stu and Drew who always argued with one another because both of them wanted to be heard, but neither one of them wanted to listen to the other. But at the end of the argument, they always says, "Why can't you just listen to me?" So therefore, again, let me refer back to John Spence again. John Spence says this in the 90 Quotes to Change the Way You Think. He says this. He says, to be understood, one must first be understanding. And see, and if that person is following you and they stay trying to argue, and then after a while they say, "Well, why you ain't saying nothing?" You say, "Well, I'm trying to hear you and I'm trying to understand you." Wow. Well, that's a de-escalation. Oh, you're really listening to me. No, I'm not trying to fight. I'm trying to hear what you have to say so that we can fix this. It will change. It will change the situation. Now, and again, like I said, you take me down another road there when you ask that question, because so many times people, I've had people ask me this question as well. What if the same person keep doing the same? What if they keep doing the same thing to you over and over again? And normally my response is, well, at first it was their fault, and now it's yours. I turn around and ask the question. I said, now, how many times do you walk out of your house the same time every day and walk across the street at the same time and get run over by the same truck? At some point, you have to change something. Yeah. At some point, you have to change something. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And, killing them is not an option. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Killing them is not an option. Okay. But at some point, you have to make some changes to remove yourself from that situation, because if nothing changes, everything will remain the same. So if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to continue to get the same results. So I have to make up my mind, you know what? I got to do something different, because if I keep doing this, this is the same results I'm going to get. They keep following me. They keep doing this. They keep doing it. The same person keep hurting me the same way. So we have to change the way. Hey, bless you, Kimberly. Bless you. We have to change what we're doing. Nobody want to be run over by the same truck. So at what point do I change the time that I cross that road? Something has to change. So that's the thing that we have to think about. What can I do differently? And now, I'm not saying this in a way for you to be selfish, but if I'm dealing with somebody and it's all about them and never about me or never about us, then that's going to always be a problem. Here we go. I studied this thing, and you can find it online as well. 90 Quotes to Change the Way You Think. I'm telling you, if you would read that, it would definitely help change many of the ways that you think. But one of the things he said, and I just recently shared this not long ago, but he says, never be so in love with someone else that you forget that you are important too. Okay. So, and I think that's what happens in many cases. The reason we keep getting the same thing, and we keep going through the same thing, and we keep arguing with the same people, is because of the fact we have forgotten that we are an intricate part of that relationship. And and listen, and when I say relationship, I'm just not talking about to a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, anything like that. I'm just talking about people, period. Because sometimes we have people in our lives that we feel like we can't do without them. We just got to have them around. And what if they don't want to be my friend no more? Sometimes I always say this. Sometimes you got to develop a TD Jakes spirit and tell them goodbye and good riddance. Sometimes you got, unfortunately, you have to do that. Sometimes you got to develop the spirit of goodbye, because because what I've discovered is, in many cases, you are someone else's best friend, but they're not your best friend. You always have their best interest at heart, and they never have your best interest at heart. And that's one of the things that make you so angry, because it's always about them and never about you, or never about us. So everything has to be to their satisfaction. Listen, none of us need that pressure on ourselves at all. None of us need that pressure. Okay. So yes. Any other questions before we go? Any other questions? I'd like to thank you for that question. Yes, thank you. That's good. That's really good. But again, I get that question. I get that question a lot. We got to know how to maintain positive self-talk. We got to do that. We got to know how to keep ourselves under control, because if we don't control our anger will certainly control us. So we have to have sometimes the gift of goodbye. Yeah. Too many times people run across people in their life that they feel like they can't live without. And you was 30 years old when you met them. Just saying. You were 30 years old when you met them. So you lived 30 years without them. And now You've been knowing them for 2 years and you can't do without them. Houston, we have a problem. All right. John Spence. That's John Spence, S-P-E-N-S-E. Let me see, can I put that out? John Spence, S-P-E-N-C-E. John Spence. There we go. There we go. John Spence. That's his name, John Spence. And it's 90 quotes to change the way you think. I'm telling you, it will help you. It will help you. I always make sure I put that out there because I'm not trying to take his credit of things that he said, but these are things that I've read that has really been beneficial to me and been beneficial and to me in helping somebody else to benefit them. So that's my goal tonight. Is what I'm here for tonight. I didn't invite another guest in tonight, but because my goal tonight, I know that we're coming into the holiday season and people are tension levels are at an all-time high, you know, because it's been a pandemic year. People can't go like they want to go. People can't buy like they want to buy. People can't do like they want to do. And it got us, you know, at some stress levels that we may ordinarily would not be at. So I wanted to share this with you tonight. And even further down the road, if you have questions, hit me up. You know, you're dealing with some issues in that retrospect that you need some help in managing those anger fits of rage or whatever the case may be. Then, hey, I'm available to you. I will be available to you. So just hit me up. All right. Thank you again for that question. I was on my way out the door, but you caught me before I got out. God bless you. God bless you. And may God keep you is my prayer. Thank you again, my brothers and sisters, for joining me on another edition of Greg Talks. And I pray that this has been something today that's been beneficial to you. So, and we got to get out of here. God bless you. And you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Mary Benson, good night. Yeah.
This is Greg Talk. This is Greg Talk. This is Greg Talk. This is Greg Talk.